How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the beach, where we are continuing our beach shenanigans. Last week was, it was interesting. It was good. The Cave of Wonders was a lot, and YouTube agreed. Didn't like that video so much. You guys liked it, which is good. And it's not like it got all shut down or removed or anything, but YouTube did give me the waggle of the be careful. So yeah, guessing that's going to be a theme for most of this series from this point on. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we are here at the beach, and we're going to see how this kind of rounds itself off. And if my prediction is correct, especially which is being corroborated by the various subtle hints in the comments. I do believe we have our branching timeline essentially happening around now. So yeah, we'll have to do that. Also, some of you brought up some ideas about potentially doing just 2 routes rather than just 1. I'm going to give it some serious thought. We'll see how it goes and how kind of where we stand at the end. I might be willing to do that because it would leave other routes to explore, but I'm not too sure. Again, normally I usually just go for 1. Unless there's a extenuating circumstance. So I'm gonna think about it. No guarantee though, because again, it's not so much about making sure there's some content to explore. It's also just showing respect to the developers and the teams that make these games and helping to make sure that I'm not undercutting people's ability to support them directly and to enjoy the game on their own time. So yeah, anyway, let's just jump into it, shall we? Alright, Makina, we played so hard. Time for dinner.
今、あまねさんが車でお肉と野菜を買いに行ってるから、もう少し待ってね。
I'm guessing she went by herself. I don't think anyone else would want to die.
夕飯はバーベキューよね。本当に私は何もしないでいいの？はい、お任せください。
Yeah, Sachi's got it.
ちょっと、バーベキューはいいけどご飯は？私、晩ご飯はお米がないと満足しないわよ。いろいろ体力使っちゃったからね。
I'm sure you did.
それなら大丈夫です。今あちらで風見さんが飯盒でご飯を炊いてますから。
Ooh, interesting.
ああ、そう。ならいいけど。
Actually, I'm sure he is.
ちゃんと炊けるの？
結構上手なのよ。
へえ。
風見くん、何か手伝うことはあるかしら？
Oh, well, that's nice of you. Oh, Sakaki. I'm fine. I'm fine. Nothing to worry about here. I'm used to cooking rice outdoors.
飯盒一つなのね。
It's round, unlike the elliptical military model. So I can get a cook. Let me try this again. So it can cook a full meal for 5. Even split between the 7 of us, it'll be around 235 grams each. A typical bowl of rice is maybe 150, so there should be more than enough.
そうね。
He's all super technical. What is it? Still need me for something? Oh, is she gonna try and unleash the magic words that she was told by the principal?
そうじゃないけど、私がいると邪魔？
You're not in my way, but this isn't exactly interesting to watch, you know?
ええ、分かっているわ。
You're a strange one. You're one to talk, Yuuji.
あなた、何でもできるのね。
Well, pretty much anyone can handle cooking rice in a simple aluminum mess kit. I mean, it's funny because I think that's meant to be an offhand remark that most of us can't, but I would argue you can. I actually have. I've been able to because I was in Boy Scouts growing up, and so I did a lot of camping, and we did a lot of experimental cooking, just trying different things. You'd actually be kind of amazed what you can pull off with some basic equipment, with a candle and an aluminum can. You can actually cook a little meal inside a old used can fairly well, because if you block most of it and prevent most of the steam from escaping, that can be enough to do a decent cook off something. And a candle, if you use it appropriately, can actually generate a lot more heat than you would think. Most of the time we think of candles as very ineffective and very inefficient because we tend to use them to light up a room and make it smell nice or to add ambiance rather than providing heat. but the tip of that flame is still really hot, and it just requires you to kind of understand how the chemistry works with flames, where like you don't shove something in the middle of a flame to get like to be able to apply heat. You actually want to go for the tip. Like, so if it has like the shape of like a teardrop, the tip of that teardrop is where the most heat is concentrated, because it's where you're having the premium reaction of the chemical burn, because anything that burns is a chemical reaction. Mixing with oxygen, like at that tip is where you want to like focus, and you can cook food that way. You can also use sunlight to cook pizza. It's really interesting.
見ていたけど、あなた泳ぎも随分と達者なようね。
So she was watching us. Well, as much as the next guy, I guess. It's probably because I've spent so much time in the harsh circumstances where the ability to cook rice and swim confidently are simply prerequisites for survival, but neither of these strikes me as anything worth boasting about. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since the last time I swam in the sea for fun.
そうなの？なんだかあなたアウトドアとか好きそうじゃない。普段は山が多いのかしら。
She's going really out of her way here. This is interesting, because like she's so standoffish and so hostile. It is really weird to see her come up and be like genuinely trying to understand more about Yuuji. That's actually really fascinating. No, it's more that I've spent time in the sea for work, but it's been longer since I took a swim for pleasure. Let's see. I guess the last time it was a summer camp back when I was in middle school?
あなた中学校はアメリカだったのでしょ？
Yeah, but either way, it's probably a little different from the sort of camp you're imagining, Sakaki.
どう違うの？
Military. That's a little hard to explain, but alright, so at the end of my 6-month first term at that school, there was an exam to determine whether we'd be promoted from reserve student cadet to reserve student. One day, our instructor gets to the group together and says, "In 1 week, you'll be taking a cruise to a southern island for a week of relaxing fun in the sun." It wasn't fun. A cruise might sound nice, but we were getting crammed into a ship carried by a bunch of reserve cadets from another branch. The boat was taking them out for naval training and dropping us off pretty much as an afterthought. So anyway, on the way to our destination, we stopped by a port to resupply on fuel. Happened to be a Navy base, and a bunch of students like us weren't allowed off the ship. They kept us waiting for hours at the mouth of the harbor. We arrived at the port in the morning, but we were still sitting there late in the afternoon. It was just about this time of day, actually. So the sun starts going down. We're still standing in the mouth of the harbor with our anchor dropped. No idea how long they plan to keep us waiting. Might be here all night, you know? So we started preparing dinner. But of course, we're talking about making food for 100 people all at once. When the ship's sailing, the ventilation's fine, but when you're sitting there anchored, it's not the case. The warm air from the cooking made the interior of the ship unbearably hot in no time at all. Our entire cruise group, along with all the naval guys who weren't on duty, came out on deck in a desperate attempt to get a little cool, but this was the southern island right near the equator, so it was hardly an improvement. At that point, our squad leader pressed the instructors for permission to swim and managed to get the okay, so everyone jumped into the sea from the deck and played around for a while.
それがあなたが海で最後に遊んだ思い出？
Yeah, guess so.
だってその後キャンプに行ったのでしょ？そこでは遊泳はしなかったの？
But that wasn't for fun. Didn't really have the time to play around at that camp. They dropped us off at some uninhabited anonymous island surrounded by rocks. There wasn't a decent bit of level ground in the entire barren island, let alone a sandy beach. They loaded us on a launch with our personal equipment, some chickens, and dropped us off there for the fun in the sun.
鶏？
Live ones, as rations. Place didn't have much in the way of water, let alone food, so they released 20 birds. Told us to do what we wanted with them. Capture them to make them lay eggs, snap their necks, eat them raw, whatever.
中学生にしては随分と過酷なサマーキャンプね。
Yeah. You think? People did give up and fail the test, but it was pretty rare for anyone to die. Wait, it wasn't a non-zero though? So the instructors always said it was practically a vacation. Fetch me!
少なくとも私には絶対に無理だわ。そんな環境。
Yeah, you don't seem like you'd be particularly good at that sort of thing.
そうね。ものの数時間で音を上げる自信があるわ。
Now that I think about it, maybe I should apologize for making you tag along on our little outdoor expedition today.
気にしないでいいわ。
You ended up not going into the water, though. Looked like you were reading the whole time. Kind of wasted your time, didn't we?
いつもと違う環境というのはそれなりに価値があったと思うし、 そもそも本当に嫌だったら最初から来ないわ。私はそういう女よ。
Alright, I get that. Again, it's one of those things, again, she's she's introverted, but she doesn't shun people. It's not like she just hates us and hates being around or going out and doing things. Like, she actually enjoys it, but she enjoys it in her own way and at her own pace. She probably would have enjoyed swimming, but she would want it to be something structured, and she'd want to understand what was expected of her, rather than just kind of the chaos of just jumping in. True enough.
でも
But
あなたがいなければ私は来なかったわ。きっと。
fetch me. Okay, we're just gonna go there, huh? I see. So it's my fault after all. Sorry, Sakaki.
いや、そういうことではなくて。
Yeah, it's they got to whoosh.
おーいユージお肉と野菜買ってきたよ。ご飯はもう炊けた？
Yeah, it'll be cooked soon.
じゃあさ、そっち終わったらこっちのかまどに火を起こすの手伝ってくれる？
Fine, I'll be over in a minute. So, what were we talking about again?
もういいわ。
She was only doing a partial confession, essentially saying, hey, the only reason why I had fun on this trip was because it was you. I only came because of you. I want to spend time with you. That's essentially what she's saying. If you say so. Again, whoosh.
これが必殺ね。
What are you talking about?
学園長が未だに独身の理由がなんとなく分かってるような気がしただけよ。
Okay, so the simple phrase was, the secret power was from saying, something along, but was it that line to say, truth is, if you weren't on the trip, I probably wouldn't be here. Like, I mean, for most people, it'd be like, oh, but not for Yuji. What? Where's this coming from?
なんでもないわ。
I've come to believe that the desire to talk in cryptic circles may be the defining characteristic of the female gender. It seems Sakaki is no exception to that general rule. By the time we finished off our barbecue dinner, the day is beginning to grow dark in earnest. All of a sudden, Amane snaps her fingers, trots off in her mini truck, and opens the passenger door.
ねえ、花火やらない？
Aw, yeah. Fireworks.
さっき買い出しに行った時、ついでに買っておいたの忘れるところだったわ。
Oh, look
ね
at
え、
that.
ロケットは？ロケット花火ないの？
Oh, wrong button. There we go. Look at that. Look at this. So, okay, I do think this is really great, and it looks awesome, but I do say, I've said it before, and I'm pretty convinced again, I do feel like, obviously, like, all the girls are characters, and it's very clear they're all very fleshed out and very, like, well compiled, and from the sound of it, in their individual stories, like, that becomes extremely prominent, that, like, each character has a very, like, impactful, unique, and interesting background and story. But as far as the game goes, like, the core creators, it really feels like Sakaki is meant to be the focal point character, that she's, like, I feel like there's a slight favoritism going on the behalf of the writer. She's very prominent in a lot of the art, like here. Like, everyone has, like, a bit of a spotlight. They're all very cute and adorable, but then, like, look, she's on the foreground where all the others are in the background. Which means that she has a much higher level of detail ascribed to her in this scene. And I feel like we also have had, up to this point, the most impactful, intimate, not intimate as in, like, sensual, but intimate as in, like, one-on-one, close, like, real character development moments have been with Sakaki. Like, we've had two major conversations with her on the roof where we really discussed, like, her feelings and, like, the relationship between her and Yuji. We just had that beach incident where we've had interaction with some of the characters, but, like, she's so far is the only one to have, like, a real, like, kind of like a heart-to-heart moment where she's probably the only girl who even has, like, the barest hint of where Yuji's come from. And he's had, like, one-on-ones with pretty much everybody, but, I mean, Sakaki's gotten, like, multiple. So again, I'm just detecting that bit of favoritism. Which is funny because, like, Sakaki's got everything going for her that would normally make me feel like she's, like, the one I'd be the most interested in She's probably got the best character design in my opinion. And I do kind of like the kind of standoffish vibe. I think it's kind of interesting. But at the same time, that the odd like kind of focus on her actually kind of detracts for me. It's weird to say it, but for some reason I've always had a bit of like an issue. Maybe I don't know. Maybe deep down I just want to feel unique. And what's the word for it? When someone like wants to be like on the cutting edge and wants to be like unique and special and like find something new first. Oh gosh darn it! I know the word, but what is it? Oh, it's gonna. I feel so dumb. I'm just having a brain fog moment. Apologies. But anyway, I've always been like that, where if I see something's really popular or a lot of people tend to have a very similar opinion of something, it makes me almost want to not have that opinion. It makes me want to hunt other options because I feel like I'm being kind of biasly pushed in a direction, and I don't like that feeling. I prefer feeling like it's all my own power. I don't know if that'll affect my ultimate decisions for this game or not, but like, does that make sense? What I'm trying to express? Oh gosh, what is it called? There's a word. That word, it's gonna drive me crazy. It's like for food and for fashion. It's when people try to be the first to enjoy something new and stylish and interesting because they want to feel unique and special. They want to feel like they made it. And I'm not like that, but I can kind of feel similar energy when it comes to characters. Gosh darn it. I know I'm going to know it, and it's driving me nuts, but we're going to move on. Anyway, so rockets. Rockets! Like, most of the time you can't buy those legally.
ロケット花火は音が大きいし、ゴミの回収が難しいから禁止よ。花火といえばロケットでしょうよ。なんで買ってこないのよ。
I disagree. I think you can have plenty of fun with sparklers and fountains.
あんた去年の夏も同じこと言って危ないからやめなさいって言ったのにロケット花火の大量同時点火して自爆したの覚えてないの？
That sounds like her.
去年は去年。今年の私を去年の私と同じだと思ったら大間違いよ。
You certainly sound like the same person.
何がどう変わったのかさっぱりわからないけど、とにかく今年は禁止。おとなしくドラゴンでもやってなさい。何を？ねえちょっとユージ、あんた男なんだからわかるわよね。花火といえばロケット。爆発しないで何が花火よ。そう思わない？
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of explosions. I'd rather stick to safe fireworks. Psychological trauma might be overstating things, but when there's a sudden barrage of harsh cracks and pops nearby, I can hear the screams of ghosts burning in my ears a long time ago. Yeah, poor guy. I mean, he's freaking what, like 16? He's already got PTSD? And when someone sets off a flashy skyrocket in the dark of night sky, it's hard to resist the instinctive urge to throw myself flat on the ground and crawl for cover. Unlike the distinct sugary sweet smell of Semtex and HMX, the odor of fireworks is reminiscent of gunpowder, so every time I catch a whiff, memories of the muddy jungle flood back in my head, and I recall the taste of blood like scorched iron on my tongue. Can't help but slightly furrow my brow. Come to think of it, you're strangely quiet, Makina. I'd think this sort of thing would be right up your alley.
興味はあるけど、花火やったことないのよさ。ちょっと怖いのよ。
If I'm recalling correctly, and I think I am because I've always thought it was a very nice sounding word, hanabi, which I'm probably not saying it right, but it's supposed to be firework. But I always thought it's a kind of a beautiful sound to it, doesn't it? And it actually kind of looks like firework. Very much denotes like it's fire and like boom, like action. Like it denotes, it has a feel to it that matches the energy of what it's describing. But hanabi, it sounds very sweet and almost like loving, which is probably just me, not like I imagine if you actually know Japanese, especially if you grew up with it, it might not bear such, like, the sounds might not be associated with similar feelings that for some reason I have, but at the same time it just feels like more pleasant and more like kind of focused on maybe the beauty side of it rather than on like the harshness. Don't worry, the ones you hold in your hand are perfectly safe. Want to give it a try? The skyrocket Sachi ended up preparing faintly colored in the night sky one after another, burning light after image into our retinas. So, wait. So they did get skyrockets, or she like made them? What? Or are they just talking about like Roman candle-esque ones, the ones that go, you know, like just make the sound or make a little like zip in the air and then just fade away. This time, the sharp aroma of hydrogen sulfide that reaches my nose doesn't seem as bad as all that. Probably because of the smiles and laughter of my classmates as they watch the sky at my side. I wish this could last forever. Will that childish hope vanish as quickly as the blaze of the fireworks in the night? Even then, I don't think I'll forget this moment. I don't think I'll ever forget that there was a time in my life when everything was peaceful and warm. And as long as I have that memory, I think I'll be able to go on living. Dang, dude.
花火の後片付け終了しました。
Good job, Sachi.
ご苦労様。さて、花火も終わったし、帰ろっか。
そうね。そろそろ戻りましょうか。
それはいいけど、帰りは私、浜根の隣はもう嫌よ。
I agree. I think you've suffered enough.
そんなに嫌わなくても、傷つくな。帰りは上りだから、ちゃんとおとなしく運転するわよ。
You said that last time. Want me to ride with you?
いいね。そのまま二人でどっか行っちゃおうか。やめなさいって。ちょうどよくマキナが寝てるから、あんたはマキナ乗せて帰りなさい。
She's like, no, you aren't taking him.
なんだよもう、冗談じゃない。そないケンケン怒らんでも。
スオさんの場合、冗談に聞こえないから困っちゃうのよね。
No, not with her. It sounds like she might actually consider it.
学園長まで私をビッチ扱い？
Hey. I don't know if that's like, that's taking it far. I just think you're a hopeless romantic who doesn't like to take no for an answer in any regard. I mean, look what happened with the drive up here. She was begging you to stop, and you're like, it's okay, it's fine. Yuji would probably beg you to stop, and she'd be like, you know what, we'll just go visit my family, and we'll never come back. I was driven to this place by vague impatience, the desire for something, but even now I haven't pinned down exactly what I'm looking for. Not knowing what I want, it's impossible to find a clear path forward. But in that brief moment on the beach, transitory as the glow of the sparklers in our hands, I forgot all about that. I forgot to be anxious, frustrated. I forgot that I'm stumbling in fog. And on the return trip, the cool wind quietly blowing through the lowered card window feels strangely refreshing. The soothing touch of the air on my sunburned face feels almost like a caress. For some reason that I can't express in words, makes me feel like it's too early to give up hope. There we go, that's it. I thought there'd be a choice or something, but guess not. This might sound odd coming from someone who's still pretty much a kid in the mind as well as the body, but it seems young people these days don't wear wristwatches. Why? I've never liked them, so I don't get it, but why? Like, I mean, okay, maybe if you come from the mindset of like being out in the wilderness, a wristwatch might make more sense because they can especially you get a really heavy duty one, they can work when you wouldn't have convenience of a phone, but still. That's not to say they don't feel the need to check the time, they simply use their cell phones instead. Even the cheapest mobile phone has the digital clock built in, so I guess they don't see any reason to bother carrying around a separate tool for the specific purpose of telling time. Of course, like a good modern youngster, I myself constantly carry around a personal cell phone. The difference is that I almost never use mine. I don't really see the appeal of racking up a huge phone bill by firing off pointless texts or killing time with aimless gossip. To be honest, I tend to view phones in general as the means to receive calls rather than make them. Cell phones allow us to talk whenever we want, and that's an undeniable convenience. But on the other hand, they create the expectation that you'll answer the phone at any time. The way I look at it, it's about as inconvenient as it gets. I have a good philosophy on that. Nowadays, especially, when iPhone goes off, I look at it. And if it's not a number that I recognize, I let it go to voicemail. If it's important, they'll leave a voice message. If they know me, they'll send a text message. And if they're saved as a contact, I know exactly who it is. Why answer the phone when half the time if it's a number I don't recognize and they don't leave a message? Must not be that important. From the inside of my school bag currently hanging next to my desk, I hear the muffled sound of an unpleasant electric jingle. The bag wiggles slightly as if something vibrates inside. My cell phone's ringing. The only person who knows my cell phone number is JB. Judging from the way the phone stops ringing at once, this was probably an email. And as a rule, JB contacts me through actual calls. I don't think she sent me a single email to date. More spam? Odds are it's junk mail. Still, I can't just ignore it. There's a non-zero possibility that JB's using an email to contact me under circumstances where talking would be impractical or dangerous. But when I open the bag and take a look inside, the LED alert is flashing on my private cell phone. Cell phone, not the one I use for work. I click my tongue, lightly in annoyance. Just to be on the safe side, I slide the phone open and take a look at the email. Subject, it's Kyoko. And who the heck is Kyoko supposed to be? The mail's from the Leisure Club. As for its contents, seems a bored and lonely housewife by the name of Kyoko, age 32, is willing to give me pocket money if I keep her company. The very model of a spam email. Yeah. This sort of offer is about as credible as Hanoi Hana's throw away your gun, GI, and our beloved Uncle Ho will give you a paddy field and your very own water buffalo. If you don't know what that is, that's a reference to the Vietnam War. Hanoi Hana was a communist propaganda broadcaster. She would broadcast like American music and communist propaganda, trying to convince the soldiers who were fighting against the Vietnamese to give up, to go home, to kind of resist, and even like this idea of like, oh, you change sides and we'll give you your own place to live and everything. And the funny thing is, like, he's making it sound credible. I wouldn't doubt that they would be willing to give a turncoat like lodgings in Vietnam if they could somehow not be like, taken out, but they'd also probably have to bring something valuable to the table. I don't know. Anyway, it was communist propaganda, and she was the main she was kind of the liaison to try and spread propaganda. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Best to remember that unless you want to get taken for a ride, forget a free lunch. These days, no one's going to give you air if they can charge you for it. That's fair. That's such a good rule of thumb in any situation. And I'd also argue that if it seems too bad to be true, it is as well. Because like a lot of the spammers will try and do things like mimic your bank or mimic your account, saying like, oh, you've been hacked, click here to fix it. It's like, no, never do that. You always should check up on such alerts, but you should do so at the home native address of that company. So someone's figured out that I have a Facebook account at some point. I don't hardly use the darn thing, but I've been getting emails about once a month for the past 3 months now, trying to say that like, oh, your Facebook's been compromised. Here's your like safety pin to access your account. And it's like, but I go to my account, and not only is there no activity in the feed whatsoever, but those alerts should be in my Facebook, not just in my email. So I know it's a scam, even though the email looks authentic. So it's like, cool, great. I'm glad I'm pretty savvy about these things, because I can't imagine how many times they are successful. I'm slightly irritated at myself for even reading this worthless crap. The way this sort of trivia annoyance tends to pop up several times a day is one of the major reasons I don't particularly like cell phones.
ダメだよユージ。学校にいる間は携帯はマナーモードにしておかないと、授業中に音が鳴ったら怒られるよ。
I'm a little new to this. Oh yeah.
っていうか、あんた携帯なんか持ってたんだ。
Hey now, I'm a modern youth in my own right, you know. Of course I've got a cell phone.
ねえ、そんじゃさ、アドレス交換しよっか。
Back in the day. It wasn't even that long ago. But now, like, most of the games talk about having like the line, right? Like line or a line equivalent. The idea, like, it's like the messenger that's really common in Japan, or texting and cell phones, like their phone numbers rather than emails. Why?
いや、なぜってことはないでしょうが、携帯持ってんだからアドレス交換ぐらい普通じゃない。サラリーマンの名刺交換みたいなものよ。
That's not a bad analogy, actually. That a fact.
何してんのよさ。
No, it's just me.
ユージの携帯とアドレス交換しようと思って。
お兄ちゃん、携帯持ってたの？
Is it really that surprising?
なんかユージってさ、変におっさん臭いというか、じじむさいというか、こういう若者文化に疎そうな感じするよね。
Yeah, you know it's bad when I know more about culture than he does.
なんか機械に頼るのは軟弱だとか言いそうなのよさ。
Just what do you people think I am? Makina stares at the cell phone in my hand with eyes full of wonder. The expression of someone who's found a caveman holding a cheap cigarette lighter. Why am I getting the idea these people just might be calling me Cro-Magnon Kazami behind my back?
とりあえずさ、せっかくなんだし、番号とアドレス交換しようよ。ね。
I have no clue what's special about this occasion, but revealing my confusion would now would probably only encourage their Cro-Magnon theory. This is a cell phone for my private use, so I suppose there's no reason I can't give out the number and email address. You're opening up the door, man. It's gonna be going off every day. All right, I'll read out the number. What was it again?
なに？自分の携帯の番号を覚えてないわけ？
I'm on it. He doesn't use it. I wouldn't remember mine if I didn't use it all the time. It's not like you tend to call your own cell phone, right? What's so strange about not knowing it off the top of my head?
つーか、あんた友達とかいないの？
No. A certain quack doctor once said it's better not to make friends with patients. Dang.
どうせみんなすぐ死んでしまうからだってか？
Okay, so how do I make this thing display my own number anyway?
別にわざわざ表示させなくても赤外線通信で送ればいいのに。
The heck is that?
だから赤外線を使って番号とかアドレスとかそういう個人データを他の携帯に転送できるのよさ。
It's interesting because like while that's definitely useful, I don't think I've ever used the infrared. I prefer like personally putting it in because then like it tends to like not dump a bunch of unnecessary information into my phone. Didn't even know it could do that.
貸して、私がやってあげよう。
Very well. I deposit my cell phone in Makina's outstretched hand.
おーい、携帯原始人のくせに4月に出たばっかの新機種なのよさ。生意気な。
Mind your own business. Not like I picked the thing out. I've just been carrying around the one JB gave to me.
よっしゃ、送信準備 OK。あまねえ、受信の準備して。
あれ？ねえマキナ、これどうやるんだっけ？
Looks like we're floating in the same river. She's like, are you serious?
いや、使ったことはあるんだけどさ。ど忘れ？
Uh-huh. Looks like I'm not the only cell phone Neanderthal around here.
もう、あまねえも携帯貸しなさい。
ごめん。
Makina takes the cell phone from Amane's hand, points the infrared part toward my phone, and transfers the data.
はい、OK。ってあれ？
どうかした？
What?
番号とメアドしか転送されてないのよさ。もしかしてお兄ちゃん、携帯に自分の名前とかのプロフィール登録してないの？
Are you that surprised? Don't know. I don't remember messing around with any settings since I got the thing, so probably not.
もうこれじゃ着信しても番号しか表示されないから不便なのよさ。
やーい、携帯原始人。
Oh yeah, that's rich. I don't think you're one to talk.
じゃあ私が入力しちゃっていい？
I don't know. Wait, no. Makina is like a born Redditor. She'll just put something stupid in. Guess I don't mind.
とかじゃあみゆじと誕
You.
生日と血液型は？
What? Why would you put that stuff in there like that? Like that in there?
まあ入力しておけば赤外線通信で送れるから名刺代わりになるのよ。あと顔写真とかも送れるけどどうする？
That's a lot of personal information though. Like birthday, it's not like it's super like something that's super high, but at the same time, like that's one of those little gateways that people can use against like to try and like simulate you online. Like, I don't like just hand that out. And then blood type, I get culturally why, but at the same time, it's a weird thing to share with people. But at the same, there is almost a survival good reason for it. Maybe that's kind of where that started. It's like, oh yeah, share your blood type, because it's good for people to know what your blood type is in a crisis. Because it's not like it's that meaningful or personal information. The thing is, like, for me, I'm always second guessing, because I'm pretty sure it's A negative for me, but like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I haven't had that confirmed in a while. I've tried to donate blood, because you can find out if you donate blood, but like, I have anemia, and like, I tend to not have enough iron where they won't accept my blood. I try to balance it out, but like, it's still like, if you're even slightly off, they just won't accept you. So like, I've struggled to be able to get that. Oh, and also if you've had any like surgery, which unfortunately I've had I've had a very interesting and dynamic medical history. If you have surgery within like a few years, you can't donate blood. I could probably try again now, post-COVID, now that like the COVID crisis is mostly done. Yeah, I think I'll try and donate blood sometime soon. Not necessary. The name should be enough.
そうわかった。じゃあ早速入力も終わったところで私の携帯にも送信と。うい、転送完了。私の携帯の番号もお兄ちゃんの携帯に転送しておくね。
Infrared data transfer, huh? The world's become a convenient place lately.
そういうこと言うから携帯原始人って言われるんだよ。ねえマキナ、私の番号もユージの携帯に送っておいて。
うむ、了解。オーケー、これでバッチリなのよさ。
ということは次は私の番ですね。
Naturally, she's just waiting in the wings. And where did you come from? Seems Sachi was observing our conversation. She's tightly grasping her own cell phone.
幸いなことに私も今時の小ギャルらしくこのように携帯電話を持っていますので、ぜひデータ交換をと思いまして。
Kogels? I really don't think one hears much about that subculture these days. Could my understanding of Kogel be referencing that 90s fashion with the loose socks and dark makeup be mistaken? I have no
ダメ
idea.
でしょうか。
You too, To be honest, I don't really want to spread my email address around too much. A constant barrage of messages would be a serious nuisance, but...
あまねさんやマキちゃんには教えて、私には教えないというのはどうなんでしょう。ことによると、これは何かのいじめなのでしょうか。
Well, come on, now you have to. No.
いじめ以外の目的で私にだけは教えたくないという理由があるのでしたら、はっきりと言ってください。個人の努力の範囲で直せるのであれば直します。
You could not say no. You can't. Like, it'd be physically impossible. No, look.
目の色が気に入らないとおっしゃるのであれば、目をくり抜きましょう。肌の色が尺に触るのであれば、全身の皮を剥ぎましょう。
I don't like how you're voluntarily offering that, because I know you tend to be serious.
さあ、おっしゃってください。私の何が至らないのかを。
Okay, you're seriously scaring me right now? I'll give you my number, so just stop.
そんな、それではまるで私が無理やり聞き出したかのような。
Man, I really wanted Sachi to know my number, and my email address for that matter. I wanted to tell her so bad it's driving me mad. Please, Sachi, allow me to give it to you.
はい、ぜひ。もう、風見さんは本当にツンデレですね。わざと私をじらして楽しんでいたんですよね。そういうプレイがお好きなんですか？
There are no right answers. Hey, Amane, tell me, can I flip out at this point?
なぜ私に聞く？
I need permission. Am I crazy? Well, whatever. Go ahead, shoot the infrared rays around. I don't care.
うし、飛ばすぞ。サッチ、どこに飛ばしてほしい？
Why? Why?
できれば
No!
顔に。
Why? Amane, tell me, can I hit these people?
だから、なぜ私に聞く？
And just as my patience meter is falling into the red zone, there's a flash of vivid gold in the corner of my eye. Hey, hold it, bottle blonde.
何よ。
What are you doing? Don't tell me you want to know my number too.
何を言っているの？バカじゃないの？なんで私があんたみたいなやつの番号を知りたがるわけ？
Well, thank
あり
goodness.
えないんだけど。
その割には、テ 手にしっかりと携帯握ってるよね。
いつの間にか近寄ってきてるし。
She was trying to snipe it!
しかもさりげに手にした携帯は受信待ち状態です。漏れ飛んできた赤外線を横から盗み取ろうとしてないですか？
Me too.
うるさいわね。勝手に人の携帯の画面盗み見てんじゃないわよ。
Oh, yeah, sure. When you were about to steal my data. Says the girl is trying to steal someone's phone number without permission.
どうでもいいでしょうが。これはあれよ。あんたの娘を誘拐した時、あんたに身代金を要求するために番号を手に入れようとしていたのよ。
I'm a little disturbed that that's your first line of reason. I've met quite a few villains in my life, but this is a bold kidnapper as a definite first. Sorry to disappoint, but I don't have a daughter.
ユージの番号が知りたいなら素直にそう言えばいいのに。うるさいわよ。そんな男の番号知りたくもないわよ。いいからさっさと教えなさいよ。
I don't want it. Give it to me.
どっちなのよ。
In the end, Michiru thrust her cell phone toward me in a virtual panic, so I transferred over my number. Not really a problem, since I don't think she'll likely use it anyway, but at this point, the majority of the class has my contact information. The only one left would be... Hey there, Sakaki. I call out to Sakaki, who's currently sitting in the corner of the classroom and passively reading a book.
何かしら。
You've got a cell phone too, I assume? Here, record my number.
必要ないわ。
Alright, then give me yours.
どうして？それこそ必要ないでしょ。
Very nice to say. When I kidnap your daughter, I need to be able to get in touch with you so I can demand the ransom, fork it over.
私に娘なんかいないわ。
Is there a reason you don't want to give me your contact information?
別にないわ。でも、あなたに番号を教える理由もないでしょ。
Interesting. Based on the conversation we had on the beach, I'm a little surprised. I want to know, does that not qualify? Sakaki collects her books with a resigned expression and gets up from her seat.
あまり気楽にメールをしないでいただけると助かるわ。
As she speaks, Sakaki takes out a cell phone from the pocket of her uniform and holds it towards me indifferently. What, you're giving me your number after all?
知りたいんでしょ？言ったと思うけど、別に知られて困るような理由はないわ。さっさと済ませてくれる？
It's a very Sakaki way of doing this. Yeah, sorry. Hey, you, I need my cell phone back.
何？
Give the darn phone back already. I need to register Sakaki's number.
榊さんの？本当に？
Yes, really? What's the big deal?
だって榊さん、私たちにも番号を教えてくれなかったのに、
Oh.
なんでユージにだけ？
Oh! Probably because she finds you annoying?
嘘、本当に榊さんがそう言ったの？私はそんなこと一言も。
Well, you do kind of seem like the type to send people completely worthless messages, Amane. You know, I'm on the toilet now, taking a poo. Just doesn't come out. It just doesn't want to come out though. Boo hoo! With a crying emoticon at the end. It's. Why does that actually sound like something she would do? Why?
そんなメールするか！
何？
Oh my gosh.
その話題に食いつくな！もう私そんなメールしないし。うんこといえば皆さんこんなお話をご存知ですか？
No.
うんこの話を広げようとするな！あんたたちね、いい年して大きな声でうんこ叫ぶんじゃないわよ。せいじゃないんだから。あんただって叫んでんじゃないのよ。つか面白がってんじゃないわよ。
Sorry, this is my fault. Everyone, please stop talking about Amane's poop.
頭を下げるな！まるで私がおそそしちゃったみたいな空気にするな！まあ落ち着けよ。結局何の話だったのよさ。だからなんだっけ、榊さんがユージに自分の携帯の番号を教えようとしてたから驚いてたのよ。
由美子が自分から番号を教えるなんてどういう風の吹きだまり？
それを言うなら吹き回しです、みちる様。
Wait, what did she say? I thought thunderstruck. Okay, I thought she said thunderstruck too. I didn't catch that she said thunderstruck. That's awesome.
知ってるわよ、わざとよ、あんたを試したのよ。
Sure.
はいはい。
試されちゃいま
Yeah,
した
yeah,
ね。
yeah. Sachi's on the. Even Sachi, who takes everything literally, knows.
ムカつく。何よその顔。
でも確かに榊さんが自分から番号を教えるなんて珍しいですよね。私が聞いた時には教えてくれませんでしたし。
And amidst the commotion, how much you want to bet she's just left?
そ
Oh,
それは別にただプライベートなことだから。
でも風見さんには教えたんですよね。
you know what? There's a good point. I'm not sure she's gonna be able to talk her way out of this one.
そのことに別に深い意味は。
As Sakaki stumbles over her words, Makina sidles up to her and slaps a hand down on her shoulder with a light thump.
お兄ちゃんのことを狙ってんのか。まあ無理もないのよさ。お兄ちゃんかっこいいもんな。
私あなたのそういうところが苦手だわ。
I do not like this part of you.
そう？じゃあとりあえずせっかくだしユミちゃんの番号もみんなで登録しておこっか。
そうね。せっかくだしね。
Oh no.
別に興味ないけど減るもんじゃないしね。ですね。あ、ちょっと私の携
Sakaki reaches out desperately, but it's already too late. Her brutish classmates have abducted her phone and proceed to take turns violating the helpless device with their infrared rays and an electric gangrene. God darn it. Oh no. Why are you glaring at me?
帯どうしてくれるの？
I don't know. What do you want from me? We're the playthings of the we're their playthings at the moment. No point trying to resist. Just give up.
変な気まぐれを起こした私がバカだったわ。
Stupid. Oh no. Don't play mad. For the record, I meant what I said. I really did want to know your number.
そういう言い方はずるいわ。
He doesn't know he's playing games, though. Show me a man who plays fair, and I'll show you a very talented cheater.
お待たせ。登録し終わったから黒くて色気のない携帯返してあげる。
色気がなくて悪かったわね。いいから早く返して。
はいはいごめんよ。ちなみにその携帯私たちの番号とメアドも登録しておいたからいつでもメールしてね。
Not gonna happen, but sure.
勝手なことを。
ちょっと。
Sakaki grabs her phone from Amana's hand, quickly turns her back to us, and stalks off to her seat.
さすがにちょっと強引だったかな。
You'd think? Being a little pushy even once in a while isn't a bad thing. I don't think Sakaki's angry she's letting on, to be honest.
だといいんだけど。まあそのうちメールでも送ってみますか。
I'd wait for a while and then only send one with an actual interesting thing to say, or else she's just gonna block you. You do that.
ユージもいつでも私にメールして。
Uh-huh. Yeah, the mood strikes me. Amane hands over my cell phone. The contact section, previously completely empty, now contains all my classmates' numbers and email addresses. After all that fuss, I've got the complete set, but I wonder if I'll ever actually have the chance to send an email to one of them. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, you can just do it. In the first place, I've never really messaged people before. Of course, I've communicated using email programs on a PC, but up until now, I've never bothered to send one from my cell phone. Since you're using a keypad instead of a full-size keyboard, it's a time-consuming nuisance to enter the right characters, and more importantly, I've just never had a reason to do so. Until now, I guess. Interesting. So, this is back in the day, so it makes sense. This is an older visual novel, but this has got to be like the T9, which is what was... It was like I had a flip phone for like a couple years before the smartphones came around. So, I didn't have to do it for long, but because I was in high school... Like, I got really good at it. And the thing is, like, and don't take that the wrong way, like, it wasn't like I was the only one. Like, I just had a cheap phone for my first few years, you know, because money's a thing. And smartphones were not very cheap. In fact, they're still not cheap, but they're a lot more accessible and cheaper now than they were when they first came out. Holy crap. So yeah, I had an old phone for a long time, and they used T9. But I remember I got really good at it, and I wasn't even like the best. I was just decent. But I remember being able to whip up a conversation really quickly. And so I sink a little deeper into the morass of the modern world. As I mumble to myself, cell phone still in hand, a fuzzy-headed little creature pops up before my eyes.
お兄ちゃんは人気者なのね。
Comes with the territory of being the only guy and being competent. What are you talking about?
みんながお兄ちゃんの携帯の番号を知りたがるのよさ。
Yeah, but their real goal was clearly to amuse themselves at my expense.
ユミちゃんも
In her case, I was the one looking to amuse myself.
あんまりユミちゃんをいじめると爆発しちゃうのよ。
Uh-huh. Oh, that sounds interesting. She got enough power, I might be able to sell her to NATO as an anti-personnel weapon. What kind of explosive yield are we talking about here?
ツングース火球なのよさ。
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like, world-ending levels. This is getting better by the second. She'll replace the tactical nuke, the endgame weapon of choice. Hell, just letting people know you've got a Sakaki at a foreign nations will watch their step.
そうだね。
She's like, you don't get this, do you? What's the matter? You seem a little down. Feeling tired after all the ruckus?
平気なんでもないのよ。
She's looking at him, being like, you're an idiot. You have no idea the power you wield, and that's that kind of depressing. Also, she might feel like she's swimming in waters and doesn't have, like, because if she's in the camp of liking Yuuji, which I'm pretty sure she is, she might realize, like, oh, maybe this is not going to be something I can just kind of go with the flow with. Hey, Makina? What was that about? Makina was acting somewhat strange, and even at the time, I had a general idea it had something to do with me. Her expression was almost like that of a young girl, the old sister watching the pouty irritation as her father was monopolized by the youngest child. As if she wanted to draw my attention but couldn't figure out how. I had an older sister myself, and I remember pulling something similar with my mother once or twice. I sort of understand the type of jealousy, but in Makina's case, I wasn't convinced that that was the heart of the matter. At this point, I didn't have any answers, just an open question. Don't tell me she was sulking over a childish reason like that. But several days later, that suspicion would be proven correct in a completely unexpected way. Oh. Alright. I think we're going to end here. Because it sounds like we're going to be launching into an interesting story caveat, and I don't want to jump halfway through it. So, we're going to end. So, I guess that's my question. Like, do I have a formal, like, choice I still get to make, or am I already on a path? Like, it's kind of feeling like I might be, but if I am, I have no earthly idea what one I'm on. If I somehow ended up on the Makina path, though, we might have to adjust. I'm not sure YouTube could survive the Makina path. Yeah, I'm not sure if that would be great if that were the choice. I'm going to go down all the routes on my own. Like, I'll experience all of them. Like, just so I can, talk about the entire narrative and, share my opinions on everything. But, like I said, I don't know if YouTube could survive that. YouTube could really become problematic if that were the case. I think I've been forgiven for the little bits and pieces of things that have happened because I've edited them in the ways I have to make sure that things stay relatively, fine. But that could quickly become a problem. Anyway, moving on from that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me, especially for the new member and patrons who continue to help believing in the dream and making it so that I can continue to invest in the channel to make things better, to be able to provide better content, to be able to have more time, to be able to, every step along that way to self-sufficiency for the channel is really, really impactful for me. It might not seem like much, but every single person who's willing to, support me directly like that, it makes a huge difference. But then I will also say, you're supporting me directly by watching the videos, by commenting, all of that makes so much of an impact for a channel like mine, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here for me and sharing these journeys, and hopefully there's more for you to enjoy in the coming days, and maybe stuff to look at in the past if you're looking for something interesting to do and don't have any, if you got time, there's lots of really great games we've covered in the past that might not have caught your eye yet. So highly encourage you to check that out. But ultimately, thanks for being here. I appreciate you spending time with me, appreciate your willingness to share it, and hopefully I'll keep seeing you coming around again. So I hope you had a great time today. I certainly did. I'm just a little surprised. I thought we were going to have a choice at this point. Because we've had little choices, and frankly, I have no idea what those choices end up doing. It's not super clear, and that's probably good. But at the same time, it also leaves me like wondering, like, when's the hammer dropping? When are we getting to the point where like I'll kind of have an idea of where we're heading? Because so far I'm just confused, and that's probably good. I like that feeling. I like not being able to predict how the game plays, but it also makes me like antsy. So it's like I want to know. So yeah, don't spoil anything for me. But I guess the only thing I'd want to know is like, will it become really clear when I've like officially like gone on, like launched onto a path towards a particular ending, or is it going to stay really ambiguous for a while? Because then I might be able to temper my own expectations or not. Which again, I don't know if that constitutes a spoiler, then maybe don't worry about it. But I can't help but thinking about it. Anyway, part of the reason why I love visual novels is I love looking at the different ways they construct themselves, like the way people have put them together and the way that they do the narratives and branching. I think it's really fascinating, so I'm really excited to kind of figure out how this game does it. So anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me, and until the next video watching me, you'll see me next. See you there.